Hello, this is Brian Baugh, creator of WULF and BATSY. And today I thought I would show you guys something kind of interesting, an obscure curiosity from my past. This is Tales from Blue Soggoth, the comic book series that I attempted to self-publish before WULF and BATSY. In 1994 to 1995. Did these comics ash can style. I also did a couple short stories about the characters that are not in these books. The premise of Tales from Blue Soggoth was about a group of astronauts from Earth who crash land on this alien planet called Blue Soggoth. And, you know, I'm a horror fan first, a monster fan first, but I thought, well, if they're on an alien planet, then that kind of gives me an excuse to draw whatever I want, because anything could exist on this alien planet. So it's an alien planet full of prehistoric animals like saber-toothed tigers and dinosaurs, giant lizard men, but it could also have, H.P. Lovecraft style fish monsters and, zombies. It could have anything. The planet Blue Soggoth could have anything. So this is like 10 years before Photoshop existed. So the only way to do stuff like this was like with very early computer programs that could do different fonts and print out different letters, and that was considered fancy back then. A lot of these kind of blurbs: horror, outer space, terror, notorious women, a new kind of thrill drama. These are things that I just cut out of Xeroxes of old movie posters stuck on there. And then the whole thing was sort of printed at Kinko's Copy Center and then bound with two staples, and it's just a cardstock cover, all in black and white, with standard Xerox paper for the pages inside. Oh, but also, come to think of it, I just realized something. If the printing quality on these books looks really crappy, that's because these little ash can booklets, these were Xerox copies of a Xerox copy. Because the way we had to make them back then was to take our original comic book pages drawn on 11 by 17 Bristol board to Kinko's, Xerox them and shrink them down to this small size, and then cut those Xeroxes out and glue them onto a stack of blank pages that were folded like this to sort of create a mock-up of the comic book to show the guy behind the counter who worked at Kinko's what we were trying to create. And then they would have to sort of print these things up and bind them with the staples from those mock-ups. So if it looks like crap, that's partly why. It's not just because my artwork was crap at that time, but it's also because this is a copy of a copy. Yeah, so it's like third generation image quality. Yeah. But, that was how we had to do it back then. Coming soon from Freak Show Comics, Tales from Blue Soggoth Volume 2. There's my copyright date, 1995. I think I did the short stories in 94, and then I got these printed in 95. So yeah, there's my group of heroes. You had Wally Franco, named after Wally Wood, of course, the great EC Comics sci-fi comic artist, but kind of based on, if you've ever seen the movie The Dirty Dozen, the character that John Cassavetes plays in that movie. He plays a real smart-ass military guy in that movie, and that I thought was hilarious. So he's sort of based on that character. But yeah, Wally Franco, he was the leader. Sarah Terenda, she was sort of the sex pot blonde Barbarella type girl astronaut. And then Brandy, she wasn't really based on anybody. She was just sort of like this cute little brunette chick. And then Varanus, the lizard man, the monitor lizard man. At the time when I did this, you got to understand, it was 94, 95. We are in the immediate aftermath of Jurassic Park coming out. every comic book artist on Earth at that time was having a resurgence of their childhood fascination with dinosaurs. Dinosaurs were everywhere. And I was actually really involved in exotic animals. Me and a couple of my friends, we got really into reptile care, and my favorite reptiles were the monitor lizards, the savanna monitors and black-throat monitors particularly. So Varanus was inspired by my pets. This world boils with danger and death. Look at all these different aliens you could have. It's got dinosaurs, alien creatures, prehistoric monsters, and the dead. Of course, you always got to have the dead. But we've got bullets and a whole hell of a lot of good, clean American fighting spirit. We're surviving the odds, see? Yeah, so this was just a sort of goofy introduction to the characters. And then this was just kind of the origin story introduction. How we got to Blue Soggoth. And so, you know, we have our very poorly drawn spaceship crashing. They know they're going to crash. Franco's yelling at everyone. Coming in for a crash landing. Yeah, I was truly just entertaining myself here. Franco just pops the door open and sticks his head out and goes, "Good news, everybody, the air is breathable." Well, that's nice to know. There's Brandy getting ready to do some exploring. She's just chipper, raring to go. This guy does a damage report and he says, "The ship is totaled," and Franco's freaking out. Totaled? They're gonna take this right out of my paycheck. They set up this goofy, old school sci-fi movie looking communicator thing that sends a distress signal. This guy can't get his walkie-talkie to work. All of a sudden, Brandy gets attacked by a plant monster. This guy is running back to the ship to get help. Almost there, almost there. And then he hears this noise, thump. Oh, what's that noise? And what do you know? It's a big Tyrannosaurus Rex. Again, this is 1994 when I drew this. Printed it in 95. We are in the immediate aftermath of Jurassic Park. So, of course, had to have a Tyrannosaurus Rex. Tales from Blue Soggoth, Chapter 2. One Tyrannosaur is one too many. And they can't get back to the ship because the plant monster's grabbing her and the Tyrannosaurus Rex is going to attack the ship and this guy's stuck in the middle. This is high drama, folks. And then we have this scene where the Tyrannosaurus Rex attacks the spaceship. A little bit Dark Knight Returns inspired here. It looks like the inside of Batman's tank in that one scene in Dark Knight, doesn't it? She's panicking. The Tyrannosaurus Rex notices that guy and chomps him. One thing that's always been very consistent with my comics over the years, I've always had a thing for big monstrous creatures with big mouths full of huge sharp teeth eating people. And I like this moment where the Tyrannosaurus Rex swallows the guy and you can still hear him screaming from inside the Tyrannosaurus's body. So he's still alive as he went down. Meanwhile, Brandy is captured by this plant monster, and these big reptilian hands come out of the dark and basically say, "Don't scream, I'll help you." Throws the thing down, squishes it. "There, you're free." Brandy says, "Thanks a lot, but who are you?" As the shadow falls over her face, and then it's the lizard man carrying her off to safety. But of course he's in shadow because he's very mysterious. Another look at the Tyrannosaurus Rex through the targeting system of the spaceship weapon system. And Franco shoots him. And it has like no effect. The Tyrannosaurus Rex just turns around and immediately bites the spaceship and rips off a chunk. He's sniffing around, looking for something else to eat, and goes away. So now they're all sitting around assessing the damage and trying to figure out what they're gonna do. Brandy's missing, and they gotta figure out a way to repair this totaled spaceship. And then there's a voice that comes over the loudspeaker. "Attention humans, please exit your craft at once. You are under arrest. Do not attempt to fight." What now? Here's a pinup one of my friends did. And here's the advertisement on the back. "It's just too cool to be true." Get on the mailing list. And yeah, we sold these comics, me and my friends, we sold them literally by taking them to local comic book stores and conventions. There was no internet. There was no way to let anybody in the world know about them outside of the tri-state area. Just whoever found them at the conventions we attended and sold them at. Interesting trivia fact. Printed 100 copies at Kinko's. Took them to Chicago Comic-Con, 1995. They sold out. Got a lot of people coming back the next morning or the next day. Visited the table to let me know that they had read them in their hotel rooms and really liked them. And one of those people was a still young and unpublished Tim Seeley, creator of Hackslash, who I would end up working with years later. But yeah, he was one of the first people who bought Tales from Blue Soggoth at the Chicago Comic-Con way back in '95, and went out of his way to let me know how much he liked it, and then gave me work later, which was awesome. So much appreciated to Tim. And then we have issue 2, dealing with the undead, Brandy and Varanus, out there on their own in the middle of the jungle, and they get attacked by zombies. Oh, look at this. Created on the computer in 1995. This was sophisticated, folks. Chapter 3, Captives of the Fish Monsters. I was doing this weird thing where I was doing 2 chapters in every issue, so even though this is issue 2, it starts with chapter 3. Captives of the Fish Monsters. So these guys have shown up to place our brave astronauts under arrest. Out, out, now all of you out. And Franco comes out and says, "Okay, calm down. Look, you got us, all right? Now just what do you mean we're under arrest? Hey, wait a minute. You guys are a bunch of fish monsters. What the hell?" "Silence, human. You have no right to speak. You have broken the law." Yeah, so they're under arrest. And when they walk by, they see Brandy's communicator smashed in the footprint of the Tyrannosaurus Rex from issue 1. And now they know she's in trouble. She even says it here. "It's the distress beacon smashed flat in the footprint of that dinosaur." And all Franco can think about is, how much is it going to cost to replace that thing? And off they go. Meanwhile, in a cave somewhere else on the planet, Brandy comes around. "Where am I?" Gasp. And then you have the big reveal of Varanus, the lizard man. "My name is Varanus, so let me guess. You come from another planet, right? I saw your vehicle crash." And they make friends. They talk some more, and I forget what they decided they're going to do. But anyway, it's been a long time since I looked at these. Cut to the horrible, disastrous bad guy place, which is all machinery and pollution, of course, naturally. Oh, this is funny. Varanus tells Brandy all about King Blurbo Trog, the good king of the planet Blue Soggoth. And she thinks that guy might be able to help her, and she says, "Would you take me to see King Trog?" Varanus says, "I don't think so. It's starting to get dark out." So she says, all right, look, if you help me, I'll give you some cookies. She just happened to have a bag of peanut butter chomps in her pocket. Peanut butter chomps inspired by Nutter Butters, which are my favorite cookies in the world. Varanus is delighted. And how can you possibly resist Nutter Butters? So he says, well, okay, but it's a long walk and you'll have to be very quiet. Okay, let's go. And then my friend Dave Hartman drew this ad. He says, don't let that one jackass kid be the envy of the neighborhood. Shatter his pompous attitude by getting your own copies of Tales from Blue Soggoth. Wright and George the Radioactive Guy. These were the comic books that me, Dave Hartman, and my buddy Steve Miller were all drawing at the time. And here they are. Steve's comic, George the Radioactive Guy. Dave's comic, Wright, and my comic, Blue Soggoth. And there's that one jackass kid who got all the comics, and you didn't, because you didn't order them. Cut to Chapter 4, In the Court of King Blurbo Trog. Now, this is something weird. Wait till you see this. So, our astronaut heroes, Franco and Sarah, they get taken before King Blurbo Trog. There he is. And he's a benevolent, good king of this planet. And he lives in this sort of water city with pterodactyls flying around and stuff. But then they get taken before him, and they're sitting in his throne room. And he has these kind of aquarium windows all around him with the fish swimming by. Now, I drew this comic in 1995. And 4 years later, I remember seeing Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace, when they go down into the bubble city underwater, the Gungan city, and they get taken before the king. And I was like, whoa, deja vu. Weird how these ideas all come up. And here's I love this guy. Statesman Zotrot. He's sort of like the lead captain of the guard for King Blurbo Trog, but Zotrot is evil and nasty, and Blurbo Trog is his good, nice boss. So he decides we're all going to be friends, or whatever, I don't know. So he says, let's welcome our fine guests, you know, this kind of thing. Servants, direct our guests to their rooms, provide them with the finest garments, and remember, they're humans, they'll need human-fitted clothing. So they're walking to the guest quarters or whatever, and Sarah says, well, what do you know, Wally? These fish guys are friendly. And Wally says, yeah, friendly, but can they throw a good party? That remains to be seen. Back in the jungle, Brandy and Varanus are walking around. I was super into all this kind of like Mark Schultz, Cadillacs and Dinosaurs, you know, again, Jurassic Park inspired, keeping exotic reptile pets at home, all this kind of exotica I was really into at the time. And of course, you know, Wally Wood comics, Al Williamson comics, the Al Williamson Flash Gordon comics. Oh, cool, look, a zombie just bursted out of the ground. And he's going for Brandy, who has this very aesthetically pleasing rip right in her butt of her pants. You know, I was 22, 23 when I drew this, so whatever. Varanus reacts. Brandy's like, Varanus, help, there's a dead guy on me. And this zombie says, Varanus, making friends with a human. I thought you ate humans. Varanus says, ordinarily I do, but this one is very smart and cute and it was lost. So I was going to keep it as a pet. And this zombie says, well, she'll be Seeper Black's pet now, and you our prisoner. So we just learned the name of one of the arch villains, Seeper Black. Don't ask me where I came up with these names. And Varanus says, well, if that's going to be your attitude, then I'm going to have to dismember you. Grrr, crunch. Blood splatter. And he whips that guy, and Brandy's impressed. And there's a bloodbath. Ha ha ha! And they shoot a big net gun kind of thing and capture our heroes. More pinups by friends of mine. Oh, here's one that Dave Hartman did. This one was by Andy Bennett, I believe. Yeah. For some reason, I decided to put the cover art for issue 1 again in there. And then the back cover is just the same art as the front, just larger. Issue 3. King Blurbotrog, a giant great white shark. You know, I'm a huge fan of Jaws, of course. So, of course, I had to draw a big old shark. And mandrills. I don't know what it was. I was going through such a weird phase where I was into just drawing crazy animals at this time, I guess. And I got really interested in mandrills, a very bizarre species of baboon with the bright red and blue faces. And then here's Captain Franco in his new costume. Very Flash Gordon inspired. And Sarah in her party dress, because they're hanging out, having a good time with the fish people now. Tales from Blue Soggoth, Chapter 5. Thy Doom Lurks. And here's Sarah sitting on top of an ankylosaurus. Hey guys, look at me. Sarah, get down from there. They're all worried she's going to get hurt. She's like, it's okay. This one's a plant eater. And of course, it's just an excuse for me to draw an ankylosaurus. And she's showing off her party dress because they're now the guests of the fish people. And she's saying, it's so nice of them to give us these fancy clothes. And that King Trog, oh, this kingdom of his is a paradise. He must be really rich. And Franco says, yeah, whatever. I hope one of these rich fish snobs remembers to bring some brews to this shindig. And there they are going into the palace. More dinosaurs walking around. There's King Trog, all ready for the party to start. Okay, Trog, Sarah's done playing with your silly little petting zoo out there. We can go now. And King Blurbotrog, being the charmer that he is, says, splendid! So did you enjoy visiting our land port? Oh yeah, of course, because they're fish people. They live underwater, but they have a land area that they sometimes can visit. Oh yes, I did. It's all so beautiful. You see, my dear, I told you dinosaurs weren't all bad. And she's just in love. Can you blame her? A boat will arrive momentarily to take us back to the castle, and then the celebration can begin. And then cut to this shot of them in the castle at the big fish people party. I don't even remember what they're talking about. She's putting her shoe on or something. I guess they're getting ready to go see stuff. He's drunk. They're having to drag Franco around. He's passing out. Goodness, Wally, you've had too much to drink. They're dragging him back to his guest room. The doctor is not pleased. And then these two are making googly eyes at each other. Guess I'll be turning in now, too. It was a wonderful party, King Trog. Pleasant dreams. Pleasant dreams to you, too, Sarah. Notice my hand lettering. Thank God for Photoshop. I was terrible at this. Meanwhile, at the bad guy's house. There he is, the evil ruler, King Seeper Black. And Brandy and Varanus are captured. He's saying something evil. And we realize that the zombies were his soldiers. They work for Seeper Black. So Seeper Black says, guards, detain the lizard in the maximum security wing of the dungeon at once. And the zombie says, yes, my lord. What shall we do with the human? A new addition to my vast harem. Naturally. A mere object to be defiled, humiliated, mistreated, and trod upon. Ferrandis says, "Whoa, did you hear that, Brandy? And I thought I was in trouble." Cut back to the palace of the fish people. Franco is drunk, and one of his buddies from the spaceship is taking him to his room or whatever. All of a sudden, their path is blocked. "Stop right there!" And then bonk, hits him on the head with a club. Nice nosebleed. Cut to Sarah in her bedroom. I kind of feel like something was clicking here as far as, I don't know. Just seemed like this was the issue where it all started to come together and feel natural. Oh, but look out. There's the claw of a fish monster's hand behind the curtain. Who's there? Yeah. And they wake up in this weird chamber. Notice Dagon. I was super into H.P. Lovecraft, Shadow over Innsmouth type stories at this time, too. There's a fun drawing of Zotrot telling them that they are doomed and they're going to be executed. "You dirty old fish monster, you'll never get away with this." Franco's still drunk. He's like, "Of course I'll get away with it." And they open this vault door type thing. He's laughing. She's still saying stuff. He's saying more stuff. And we realize that this leads out into this glass tube. This guy was the doctor from the American astronaut spaceship. He's stuck in there with Sarah. He says, "So just how do you plan to kill us, fish monster?" "You'll find out. Goodbye, humans. Ha ha ha. Slam." And then this thing sort of jets them out into the ocean. Yeah, I don't know. This is still very young, immature work of mine, but I feel like there was something going on in these pages, starting in this scene, where I was starting to get a feel for motion and I don't know. It just seemed like something was clicking. Here they are swimming underwater. And then Franco and this other guy, they get Mr. Nat. I forget what his job on the spaceship was, but they get thrown into this jungle terrarium type place. So then we have this sort of split page where we cut to Sarah, and she's talking underwater. "Blow no, Dr. Blur Sklump. Look." Meanwhile, at the exact same time, Franco's coming around, and we reveal that Sarah has seen a huge shark in the water with them. And in the jungle terrarium, there's a huge, giant mandrill. Tales from Blue Soggoth, Chapter 6. Lo, the shark and the giant mandrill, harbingers of death. So there they are. And there's the giant mandrill. Franco's completely disoriented. He just came around from being completely a blackout drunk. "Wally, I think it's going to charge." Zotrot, watching, gloating, the bastard. And you notice things are going this way, then in the next panel they're going that way. It's like, this is before I worked in animation too, so I hadn't learned anything about screen direction yet. My drawings were getting better, but my visual storytelling was still a little goofy. Anyway, the giant mandrill grabs this guy, Mr. Nat. He pulls out his sword. Again, another scene of a big creature with big sharp teeth eating humans. And Franco's like, "Hang in there, Nat, I'll save you." He's completely ripped in half with his intestines exposed. And he runs up, "Yah! Slash!" Nice blood spray off of the mandrill's teeth as it whips its head around to look. "Damn dirty ape." Of course. He had to say damn dirty ape. because, again, it was 1995. It was before the internet existed. It was before Twitter, before memes, before all that nonsense. And, you know, we were living in a time and age when it was just us friends, and we had Planet of the Apes on videotape, and we loved it. And we, you know, we still thought it was clever to quote that movie in a comic book and not have it be an overdone joke that's been played to death. Stabs the mandrill right through the head. I was going to say through the neck, but right through the head. And there it is. He's killed it. And there's his disemboweled friend. And, well, you see what Captain Franco has to say for himself. Meanwhile, back underwater, Sarah and Dr. Sklump are swimming around trying to avoid the shark, which, boom, goes right by. You see it kind of come around. Again, I think I was getting the hang of the feel of some kind of movement here with the water and the bubbles and, you know, not doing the usual cartoon outlines around things, but using lines in motion, showing the motion of the shark. Yeah, so there you go. Oh no. And then a big splash page, of course, for the big moment where the guy gets bit by the shark. And of course you have the lovely Sarah underwater in her lingerie. And I kind of like this panel of the shark kind of whipping its head back and forth as it kills this guy. And then it takes another bite. Notice his legs are already severed. Chomp! His name tag on his fatigues floating by in the blood clouding in the water. She says, I got to get back to that air tunnel fast. I guess so. So there she is swimming away with the shark chasing her. Almost there. The shark teeth coming in. They almost bite her. And then this is like inside the tunnel as she sort of gets pulled in by the vacuum or whatever, and the shark's face is out there, just bang into the outside of the tunnel. She just got away, and now she's like pushing on this door, trying. The pressure lock won't open. She is trapped. The big question is, why hasn't she drowned yet? Who cares, right? And then here's a sort of a big wide shot to kind of give you, make sure you understand where we are in the scene. Shark's still trying to get at her. And a little wink of light here around the edge of the door as she says, the pressure lock is opening. It's being opened from the other side. Wally! And when he opens the door, it's like the water pressure just makes it go bam, 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 shooting the shark. Blam, blam, it swims away. He closes the door. Wally, you saved me. And he picks her up in this very heroic move. And they're off to the next adventure. To be continued. Oh, that's a funny one. My friend Brent Bowman drew this pinup of the characters. There's the cover art again on the back. And then we have issue 4. This was my favorite one, because this is the one where we cut to Brandy and Varanus. Over the course of the series, even though I started out with this big group of characters, and I really liked Wally Franco, by the time we got to this issue, I remember my heart was with these two, Brandy and Varanus. And it's really funny because some years later, 4 or 5 years later, when I created WULF and BATSY, Dave Hartman, who I referred to earlier, my great friend at the time, when he read the first WULF and BATSY comic, he said, "This is cool, but you're just doing Brandy and Varanus as a werewolf and a vampire." Because, you know, he was friends with me back when I was doing this. Chapter 7, In the Clutches of Zaglazor. Geez, I wonder if that was kind of reminds me of Zagzog from Wolf and Batsy. I wonder if that was lurking in my subconscious in some weird form and came back. So here we go. These are the bad guys. And Super Black, and these are his minions. I like this guy with the eyeball in his stomach. I forget what he's talking about. Something evil. But the servant girls have Brandy captured, and they're bringing her before Super Black. And he says, basically he's saying, you know, make her a member of my harem. Cut to the prison cell where there's these two zombie guards. And Varanus is being held hostage. Never one to waste time sulking over the problems which vex him, Varanus waits cleverly and listens. And here's these two zombie guards. So, did you hear about the big attack coming up? You mean the sneak attack against the fish people, he's basically saying. Notice this one zombie guard has a cigarette. He's like, man, it's super top secret. Of course, Varanus is listening. So they're talking about how they're going to attack the fish people. King Blurbotrog's kingdom. This is from inside the cell looking out. Varanus' point of view. And then, punch! Varanus' hands come through the prison cell door and grab these two zombies by the heads and squish! There is no cell that can hold Varanus. Gotta love that blood splatter. And he grabs their guns. Weapons of doom? Armed. Only a moment ago, I was just a lizard, but now I am a lizard with a gun. And he's off to rescue Brandy. Real sophisticated storytelling here, folks. Here we go into this big, weird chamber, and one of the servant girls says, you may see her now, Lord. And he says, it's about time. Well, where is she? She insisted on sitting by the window. And then here you go. There's Brandy sitting in the window in her harem girl outfit. Needless to say, I was a kid of the late 70s and the 80s. And Star Wars was humongous in my life. And, of course, everybody loved Princess Leia in her slave girl outfit. So, naturally, I had to do something like that. If I was going to do a sci-fi comic, how could I not? And Super Black says, you are dismissed. And then he takes his hood off, and he's got this hideous brain. Now, Earth Girl, we are alone. And he's menacing her. But she's too cool to be intimidated. She says, let me guess, this outfit's supposed to humiliate me, right? Break down my resistance to your advances, make me more psychologically submissive. Ha! Big deal. My bikini covers up less than this. You talk like a tramp. You smell bad enough to gag a maggot on a goat wagon. Hiss. You smell bad enough to gag a maggot on a goat wagon. That was a line that one of my childhood friends' moms said one time, and I never forgot it. She wasn't saying it to me. She was saying it about something else, but it left an impression, regardless. So he's trying to negotiate with her, and she's just not having it. These two sound like they're already married, the servant girls. So he gets fed up with her, basically, and he says, let's just execute her. And she's like, come on, I'll take all of you on. And all these zombies come running in. Now what? Lord Black, a prisoner has escaped. Which one? Crash! Varanus! And Varanus promptly starts blowing zombies away. Boom! That's a good head splatter, right? throws Brandy a gun. These guys can't believe it. Come on! But the zombies have guns too. She's just running around shooting all these guys. He puts the shotgun in this zombie's stomach and blasts his whole back out. Boom. Oh yeah, also this being 1995-96, we were also in the aftermath of Terminator 2 Judgment Day, and I loved that shotgun that the Terminator had in that movie. So I had to draw that. She's jumping and shooting and blowing things up. She slides and shoots this guy, blows his head off. I like that panel. Boom! Blew this guy in half. She's like, where'd Super Black go? This castle is full of secret passages. They must have escaped through one of them. Follow me, Brandy. I think I know a way out of here. And then he notices her in this outfit. Varanus, are you okay? Whoa, mama. What kind of writing is this? So anyway, back to Super Black. He's telling his minions to find them, and he turns to this wonderful guy. Captain Claus Zorks. Take a regiment of zombies with you. Find Varanus and the Earth Girl and kill them. Sounds like a plan. Chapter 8. Varanus Unleashed. He finds a trap door that leads down into a crawl space. And Brandy is horrified by the smell. This is a weird thing about my comics. It seems like at some point or another, the adventure always ends up going underground. I like creepy action in underground tunnels. Here they are crawling through this crawl space. I remember at this time, this is going to sound morbid, but around this time I also read a true crime book about John Wayne Gacy, who buried all of his victims in the crawl space under his house. And I remember reading the descriptions of the sort of sludgy mud full of bones and body parts. So that was on my mind. And of course, who can resist the visual image of this lizard man slithering through this muddy, hideous gunk full of corpse parts, you know, and a half-naked girl being forced to follow along through it right behind him. Oh no, one of them's actually still undead. Varanus, one of them's got me. He barely notices. Nevertheless, that metal grating up ahead, that's what we want. Clang kicks it open and hops out, and they are in this sort of, again, a sewer tunnel. But at least there's water to kind of, you know, clean them off a little bit. So they're going down through the sewer tunnel, and there's something stirring in the water up ahead. What is it? Bloop, bloop, bloop. Splash! It is I, Captain Claus Zorks. I like this character. I think I might need to bring him back as a Wolf and Batsy villain. Well, Varanus is not wasting any time. Boom! Shoots him right in the face. But Captain Claus Zorks bounces right back. Varanus thinks, an armored hide. Very well then, Brandy, hold this. Let it be tooth and nail. I was just having so much fun drawing this stupid comic. She says, "Eep, zombies!" coming through the water to get her, while Varanus fights Captain Claus Zorks. And she ratchets the shotgun, and boom, 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 blows these guys up. Whack! Captain Claus Zorks smacks Varanus with one of his big pincher claws. Again! Wow, man, this is vicious. Varanus goes to bite him, but then crunch! And he's trying to get away. Claus Zorks says, "Tonight you sleep in hell." Uh-oh, Brandy's out of bullets. She says, no problem. She's got her shotgun. Uh-oh, that one's out of bullets too. This zombie says, so pretty. And she just charges him with the shotgun and whack! Knocks his eyeball out. Had to have a big close-up of this, right? Splat! Cut back to Clawzorks fighting Varanus. Varanus claws his face and snap! Bullwhips him with the tail. Knocks him away. Then he grabs Brandy and they run away together. Boom! He comes up through the floor. Brandy follows him. She says, look up ahead, Varanus. And they're in this kind of weird hangar bay with these kind of weird killer robot things. But there's the way out. And then Seeper Black is reporting to his master. And, his master's not happy, but he says, it's okay. We will destroy them all. To be continued. And it never was. Here's a pinup by Michael Nunn. Michael Nunn did back at this time, he was doing a fanzine that myself and Dave Hartman ended up doing a lot of illustrations for. Yes, folks, this is back in the... you want to make comics, you got to make them at Kinko's Copy Center, and you reach out to fans with fanzines made out of Xeroxes. Bill Bronson, buddy of mine from art school, one of the first big WULF and BATSY fans when I came out with that comic. He probably drew the very first WULF and BATSY pinups. And there's the artwork on the back. So why did I never continue this any further? Well, it was 95, 96. I'd been out of art school for about 2 years at that point, and I'd been trying to do these little indie comics and sell them at conventions and show them to publishers to try to get it picked up and made into a real comic book. But after 2 years of trying that and no publishers were remotely interested, I started to get that post-college, pre-career nervous feeling that, I needed to get a job and start doing something with my life. And, it's a long story, but basically I had an opportunity to move to California and try and figure out a real art career for myself. And that worked out, and Blue Soggoth fell by the wayside. I was sort of angry at this comic book by that point because I thought, man, I put so much effort into it and it just completely failed and went nowhere, and no publisher liked it and never got it picked up. So what was the point of that, And again, this was way back, before the internet and crowdfunding and everything we have now that makes it possible to make an indie comic and actually sell it to large numbers of people, the hope was you make little sampler books like this and take them to comic book conventions and pitch them to publishers, and hopefully some publisher that actually knows what they're doing and can afford to get comic books printed for real and then sold in comic book stores takes it on and publishes it and makes it happen. But anyway, yeah, so when nobody liked it and I couldn't get it picked up by anybody, I kind of said, that was a failure. But meanwhile, I got a job in TV animation, which just instantly was, making good pay, having health insurance, retirement plan, all those important grown-up things. And so I got really into the animation work and just put comics by the wayside for a long time. And it wasn't until 1999, 2000, I started to get the itch to make a new comic book and wanted to do something totally new. And it was WULF and BATSY. So the rest is history. But anyway, so that was my my first attempt to self-publish my own indie comic back in 1994, 95. Tales from Blue Soggoth. I hope you enjoyed this video. It's sort of fun to look back on this old stuff and maybe interesting, maybe a little interesting for you guys. Maybe when you look at this stuff, you can kind of see the stepping stones in the crooked path that led to my current comics that you might be more familiar with. Anyway, so hope you enjoyed this video, and see you next time. Bye.